even wore the cams to my birthday. Wait, what? TikTok operate. We might be crazy. We might be drunk.
You know, for better or worse, I've stumbled upon this guy's page, and I think it's really dangerous, the stuff that he's doing. Not just masquerading like he's an expert. And sure, he, does a lot of Instagram and TikTok worthy tactical moves, but they're not really practical or useful. And we'll use a couple examples here. Let's first off start with the reload. All right, TikTok, I'm a professional with an unloaded firearm in my home. 2 empty magazines, which I had to unload for the purposes of this exercise, and now I gotta reload them when I'm done, but that's another story. All right, first thing, when you go dry, right, you're back here. So he does this whole thing where he drops it and brings it really close to his face, with his shoulders all hunched down, like this, and then he's shooting like this, right? Not only does this get uncomfortable, but it's also unnecessary. If you're shooting with a proper stance and a proper grip, but the way that should look is when you go dry, you're here, bam, 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 your plate's facing the target, you have a nice upright stance, good situational awareness, you're leaning into the recoil a bit, and even when you're moving, your legs are banded together so that you're not throwing off your shot if you have to move and shoot. And then you go dry, you just cant the weapon, bring it slightly, and then you're right back in the fight, right? So, we'll see that again, a little bit faster, here, and then you're back in the fight, right? He's bringing it all the way in here because he probably thinks it looks cooler, but not only does it impede your line of sight, it's more time wasted getting back out in the fight. And then, this is the part that really gets me. When he goes dry the final time, right, fires those last 2, he's still acting like he's in the fight, number 1, with an empty weapon, right? Whereas he should reload, be in the fight, and then he does this weird thing, like pancaking his pistol, like I'm so insta-cool and tacta awesome on here. The way you close this in, so let's say you're clearing a room and you need to bring this into you so that your weapon is not out ahead of you if you're crossing a threshold. You're here, you maintain your grip, and you just cant it in like this. When I was in the Border Patrol Academy, they taught us the same thing, where you basically bring it in, address for threats, and then slowly reholster. So you come out, boom, boom, you believe your threats have been neutralized, you bring it in like this, you're still maintaining a grip, so that way you're out should another threat appear. But he's doing this whole thing, whatever the fuck this bullshit is, and he's like this, and then he turns like this, again, breaking what we typically call a 180 rule when you're on a live range. You never break that 180 because, basically then you're shooting behind you, and it's not down range. And then he does this stupid little thing. And yes, people might say, oh, but he's dry. I don't care. If you're on a live range, it's always loaded. It's always considered loaded, no matter what. So, what you do properly, you go dry, right? Look at the magazine. We'll just, for the purpose of this exercise, I only have 2 unloaded. Boom, boom, boom. You drop it, load 1, boom, boom, boom. It goes dry. Okay, load the next one, check for more threats, and then holster, and then move off. That is very basic. It's taught in every American law enforcement agency, or at least at every federal agency. I've never worked for good old-fashioned local law enforcement, but that's how that works. None of this whatever fucking nonsense he was doing. Simple, minimize movement as much as possible. Excess movement, it's for show. It's stupid and it's unnecessary. Slow, smooth is fast, and you are smooth when you minimize movement. Plain and simple. And that's your lesson for the day. I gotta sit down and reload all this shit. I've actually got a USPSA competition tomorrow, and this is the one I'm using. The one-handed chamber check is unnecessary, but that is cool. But I acknowledge that fact.